second best of 3. So far today has been pretty exciting. SRG had a lot of resistance, but I want to see whether RRQ and Team REY could top that, especially Team REY, because people are coming and looking at them thinking like, man, these guys have been 8th place all the time. Dangerous grass as well. Hilda could potentially get picked up here. Does Team REY have enough?
Yep, that is going to be the question here. Hilda, definitely a high pick rate on the side of Dangerous Grass, and we've already seen Khalid earlier. Aggressive roamer is going to have very high value under the current circumstances to force junglers to play uncomfortably. RRQ going to be on that blue side, already banning out the Baxia and the Fanny, so focusing on that hero pool on the opposite side.
Interesting. It is just Gar, though. I am curious to see what they're going to do with this, right? Because if this is insider information or something that they prepared for... there we go, finally, the Guinevere. So this is premeditated. So they really want to make sure that not only a flex pick is out of the question, but there's some very direct lines of how they're going to attack TR. And a lot of that is going to come through the jungle. But usually when we see teams ban out like quote-unquote junglers, they start to contest for the mid-duo more.
Yeah, I definitely can see that being the case, and that is why the Zeus Sin is gonna be the final ban on the side of Team REY. They got rid of Freya and the Marcel beforehand. The Valentina is open, Eve as well, both very solid mid laners. And looks like it's going to be the Valentina. And a little bit of a fun fact for all of you guys. TORA means tiger in Japanese. That is where the name comes from. But will they be the tiger or the snack?
That's very Malaysian. I don't want to have to explain the joke, but it's all right. It's all right. It's good to know that TORA actually means tiger. Did not know that. Really thought it meant something else, or there was a different association. Well, I mean, considering the boss of RRQ, like, he's named his organization based on, like, important things in his life, right? So this feels very, like, Tudor to the Malaysian audience.
Definitely, for sure. The Valentina, though, we already saw the issues with picking this too early on, and if T-Ray has the correct hero pool, they can play around it. But they will go ahead and grab that Leomord as well as the Hilda we mentioned earlier.
Really surprised that they didn't want to take the Hilda early on. But at the same time, now we have to actually think, because this opens up potential for like EXP laners who actually dominate, and that could open up jungle pathways for RRQ later down the line, knowing that Hilda's going to kind of be in their face. Same problem, if we look at from RRQ's POV, that Hilda could just go into EXP, which seems unlikely, but you never know with the Malaysians. They roll the dice a lot.
It's possible. We know there's a lot of local players that enjoy playing the Hilda in the EXP lane, but I wouldn't really consider Siska to be one of them.
Yeah.
So I feel
Plus,
like
he's good on kind of anything.
Yeah, he's so good on playmakers especially, so putting him on a Hilda feels like a bit of a waste, but that means that Sora is open, along with the Suyo for RRQ.
I'm actually down to Hilda versus Sora, because it's such an unwinnable lane for Sora. It's like you can commit everything and still not kill the Hilda at the end of the day. That's the frustrating part about it. So unless they want to, you know, take away Siska's playmaking capabilities and put him on a hyper peel roll, it'd be sad, but at least with Phoveus, there's a little bit more that can be done here. And my guess, he's going to build full tank.
I would think so as well. We did already bring up the Thunderbelt earlier. I feel like it's possible as long as the laning phase goes well enough, and would allow Siska to be more of a damage threat once we get into the later stages.
That's under the assumption not only he wins the lane, but he purposefully doesn't break the tier 1. Like, he sticks in the lane on purpose to farm those stacks against Sora, if that is the case.
I mean, it's not necessarily. If you're confident enough, you can start farming stacks by joining team fights. A lot of it does depend on whether Hilda and Leomord will be able to create enough space, but if they do, these are heroes that create a lot of tempo.
Is it going to be good enough? Wait, let me think about this for a moment. Would I rather to be halfway through a Thunderbelt on the first hurdle rather than just have a Dreadnought armor? That's a tough call. It's a tough call. I think I would go for the Dreadnought armor, but then the potential of having like 15 stacks and like almost getting at least 40% of a mid laner's HP doesn't sound that bad of a trade-off either.
I think it really does depend on how well the laning phase goes. And we know that Siska plays a pretty mean EXP, so there's a chance, but it is very dependent. There is variation in how that build can go, and it also depends on what the rest of his team needs. If they already have sufficient damage overall, then he could probably bypass it.
Yeah, or if they're winning so hard, they can go into War Axe, and I think that's where the game gets really, really fun for Phoveus players, especially when the enemy team is delayed on the Glowing Wand and the Dumb Ices. Second half of the draft, however, a lot of like CC-heavy things. Hylos, pretty good ban here overall for the Slime Team REY, but then I'm looking at RRQ, they're getting rid of the Z17, which I would only assume. Why do they need the Vision? Are they looking to cancel out other artillery mages?
It's possible, but I wouldn't also think that heroes like Farsa were enough of a priority. I guess Eve is also something they could be looking at, but they already have the Valentina.
And more so, Z17 is like, what do you ult and then I ult? What? Nothing happens at that point with Eve.
Like, I can understand maybe respecting the Z17 if you're playing Fredrin, for example.
Oh, but then if you are going...
they have Suyo.
That's the thing. If they are, unless it's like counterplay towards it, potentially, I don't know. I just don't see it happening, right? Team REY has already showed that they got the Leomord in their hands. They have a way to quote-unquote play the early game. I'm not sure whether it's going to lean more into the gold laner here, but the fact that they have Hilda, they can lead in any direction. And Kimmy ban from RRQ, really, really nice stuff.
So good focus onto the mid lane here. Valentina is one of the stronger ones now, but will still have difficulty against poke-heavy mid lane mages. So getting rid of those will give Kim a slightly better time. Now the Yi Sun-Shin will get picked up. And in the first match, we talked about how Lolil was the first person to actually go for that Yi Sun-Shin gold lane many seasons ago.
Yep. Whether or not it's going to be good enough. If I'm facing against Yi Sun-Shin, what's a gold laner here that deals well against tanks? I mean, carry makes sense-ish, sort of, but at the same time, it's so short range that dealing with like a Leomord in your face, I think you might want Claude a little more. Oh, actually, maybe Moskov even. You can push them away, I suppose.
It looks like it will be the carry. And that sounds like a glue. One of the common counters to the Phoveus. So this is not the Sora EXP, is it? It's Sora Roam.
No. It's got to be Sora EXP Glue Roam, right?
Roam. But then Glue matches up into Phoveus a lot better.
I agree that he fits much better into the Phove, but it's not like
Sora
impossible.
Roam level 1 versus Hilda is terrible.
Exactly why I think Glue is going to be the one, right? Because if not, why get it? Why get it? Like,
fair enough.
Like, in terms of raw displacement, we only have 2 ways to displace. One doesn't really count because it's a Terrify, so it depends on where you're standing, and then you walk away from it. You can't consistently hit Leomord off the steed. And there we go. Finally, the Farsa does eventually come through. So this is what they were trying to lean into, which is kind of interesting. I'm not entirely sure why they wanted it to go in this particular direction, right? Because I think that even if the Z10 was let through, that's not a bad ult to steal either.
Yeah, definitely not. Now, the Paramis could have been a possibility to counter the glue, but I think they were okay with that because they have the Valentina.
Yeah, they're just lacking damage, right?
The NetherRealm versus is always going to be a thing.
It's always going to be bad. It's always going to be rough. It's always going to be bad. I don't know. When I'm looking at this draft, the first thing that I'm thinking of is the early stages of the game for the Team REY, right? There are a lot of ways to make things actually work in their favor if they make the timings line up. Level 4 is what we're expecting it to be for Team REY. Same goals for RRQ TORA, but it's the battle of the supports that will make the difference.
If they can create enough space early, that's going to be huge in order to carry them into the mid lane and hit that scaling timing with their item power spikes. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to jump right into the land of Dawn once again. We got RRQ TORA on the blue side up against Team REY on the red.
Yep. You guys need to come here to Quill City Mall live, because then you can actually see the front-facing cameras of each of the players with each individual Ozbots who both of them happen to be looking at our Marshall right now.
Curious.
Oh no. I think they may have, they haven't noticed it yet, but until then, grab your QR codes as they fight for the first Lethal Wanderer of the game.
Patrick taking a lot of damage here, but Glue is still going to be a very annoying hero to deal with. Litho will be secured by Team REY. We've already pointed this out, but Team REY is the team that ideally wants to create a bit more space early on, especially with Ivan on this Hilda.
This has got to be so frustrating. Because for Martese, he can't just hard shove the wave, and for Ivan, he can't really help with the concussive blast because then he's gonna get locked down and lose too much life to just glue on top of Kim. That's why they're just holding up their abilities, right? They want Ivan to show.
Definitely, and Ivan, even on the Hilda, not able to do so too safely. The poke damage from Valentina Glue early is deceptively high. And now Gary's nearby as well. Looks like Team REY knows there's some potential funny business happening.
Yeah, but considering that both junglers have already finished their clears, they should collide now. I don't know.
They're engaging on Super Yoshi. They force the flicker out. Gary comes in, but knows he's outgunned. So he will back off.
Yep, really good call there. Very, very good call. And a huge resource actually being lost for Justgar. I think at this point, Justgar, whether he can test for the turtle or not is going to be dependent on the EXP, and that's why more resources being dedicated by Team REY to ensure that at least the EXP laners can get involved.
Gary was able to steal that crab away from Justgar. Now going to be the first one to control the turtle. Ivan comes in, takes so much damage. Here's the lightning form from the TORA, forces the flicker out. Siska resetting the turtle at least. Ivan looking for chance, not able to get that last hit. Flickers forward, gets the shifting skies, but the Fender District finishes him off, and the Phantom Steed comes out as well. Kim gonna need to back this off and abandon the Super Yoshi, who's one hit away from death. Justgar should be able to finish this. No! He gets the tower in time, and now the Fender District is stolen!
Beautiful.
The bounce back from RRQ.
Beautifully played by everybody across the board. Really nice stuff here by RRQ. At the same time, Gary, he is playing counter initiation. He is not trying to start things up against Team REY. He wants Justgar to do his thing. And so far, with that being said, a level lead for the jungler right now. And Gary, he knows he doesn't want to be in this position. Team fights can get a little hard. They're just waiting for the ults to come back.
Gary going to scout things out. Siska and Ivan on the turtle currently, but Super Yoshi is back. Glue is really such an annoying hero to remove, especially without anti-heal. He's already level 4 as well, so there's the risk of being dragged back. Dyron is here. Ivan engages on Kim, drops him below. Fender District comes out, but the lightning form is in the backline. Martisi in danger. Dyron finishes him off. Justgar grabs the glue, and Gary grabs the turtle at the same time. Team REY dropping low, but they'll at least trade for the Sora. But is it worth it? Ruff picks up his first kill onto the Hilda, and he's even doing more poke damage.
Yeah. There was a moment they could have thought about going back in there, but Siska understands, hey, as soon as Carry pops that ult, there's no need for me to be there. I'm not playing Vengeance. All I got is Peel, and if I have to use my Flicker, then so be it. With still gold plating available, all laners haven't really gotten too much. It's a lot of it just comes down to rotating and team fighting, less of individual leads other than Gary.
And Gary is perfectly okay with that. This is a similar style of play to when he was on CG as well. He plays a very controlled jungle style. In the top lane, they are engaging on Siska 1v2, and he has to commit. He has to try and buy as much time as possible, but I don't think he's winning that one.
Yep. Really good setup from Dyron, and now the next trade is Super Yoshi flickers away. Oh no.
He jumps back in on Justgar for the HP. This is gonna be very awkward. Yep.
The poor guy. All he had to do was just get over the wall. No. And now Kim losing so much pressure just because of that.
Sometimes you just want to ride a horse as well, Gideon. You know?
Mom, it's only 25 cents, I swear. It'll only be 5 minutes.
So maybe you should make sure someone else isn't on it too.
Oh no. Wait, hold on. Ruff
actually doing some good damage here.
Really good light wheel there. TR just kind of didn't do anything. Like, I was expecting Martisi to maybe trade flickers, but I think they're playing a very safe style of game. I want to see whether Team REY is trying to stick to the book as well, because I know, at least for RRQ TORA, they've adjusted the rules a little bit, changed the parameters, make sure that Gary is the counter engager. Team REY, very standard.
I think both teams are playing to their own strengths currently. RRQ TORA, you can see the discipline, the communication is there, and they have a lot of resources to work with how tanky Super Yoshi is. Team REY has already missed a bit of a window to get an early snowball going, but as long as they don't fall too far behind, they're still okay. Here comes Dyron, they get the stun, Turtle already at half HP, Siska comes in, Justgar on the flank as well, but he's instantly zoned out by Dyron. Fender District can be used, Gary secures the Turtle, he's stuck in the pit, but he dashes back out, and Ivan goes down to Ruff. The damage from the carry is too much, it's a killing spree for the Suyo.
So far, so very good for Ruff. Man, Ruff's light wheels have been impeccable, right on the target, hitting multiple targets at the same time, and Team REY are just not reacting well to it so far.
This is just the type of game that Ruff loves to play, right? If his team is tanky enough, he can walk as far forward as he wants to do his damage. It's only 6 minutes in, and the carry is already 2-0.
There needs to be some kind of punishment here. for the side of Team REY. They have access to Feathered Airstrike, but it's been a real struggle to get it off consistently, not knowing where Dairen is or whether all of a sudden Super Yoshi decides to flicker forward, right? Many ways to cancel the Feathered Airstrike. So really, I think that Team REY, their best setup for a fight has to be around the turtle.
I think so as well, but even that is difficult. Ivan in trouble! The Shifting Sky is doing so much damage, and Hilda drops. Feathered Airstrike already whiffing, but Jesgar looking for the kill onto Dairen. He's dashing out, but the horse should chase him down, finish him off. Is it worth it though? Ruff gonna be able to melt him away, and they're gonna have to abandon Siska as well. It's a mega kill for Gary.
Team REY needs to stop defaulting right now. They are listening to the calls of Ivan, and they are doing very... I don't want to say bot things, but let's just look at the instant replay, right? If you look at the minimap almost straight away, you can notice the positions of where everything's happening, right? As soon as Ivan gets caught here, both Glue, alongside with Suyo, alongside with Carry, are already walking up after pushing down to the bot side. Gar should have known that he should have gave it up at that point of time, but he's too deep.
And I like the call from Super Yoshi as well to just instantly engage on the Phobia since he knows that the Leomord is 100% dead. So RRQ TORA operating incredibly well right now, and Team REY looking a little disconnected. I feel like this Hilda unfortunately isn't doing much for them.
I mean, considering how the early game went, now Gary has 4 kills. Very not well. Not great. Not great for the most part. They didn't want to sacrifice that mid space, and this is what happens.
Ooh, do you really want to be there, Ivan? Gonna get caught by the glue once again. Jumps right on, tries to flicker away, but nope, just pulls you straight back. Killing spree for Ruff. Feathered Airstrike to zone out RRQ TORA, and Dairen just eats all the damage like it's breakfast.
Yup, and this carry pick now really showing its fangs. Hilda does not stand much of a chance against it, even with flicker as well. Siska very, very nervous about these types of positions. He himself had to flicker out in that previous engagement. And now we see that Team REY are forced to stick together, right? Defaulting at this point of time, sending multiple people into many different lanes. You need to show up for just a split second, because so far RRQ TORA, they've been sticking for 5, and they're sending their feelers out into the enemy purple side jungle.
They're really making good use of this glue roam right now. One of the tankiest heroes in the game, in fact. And Team REY is feeling that. They've already finished the Chastised Baldrin as well on both Super Yoshi and Dairen at the same time, so Team REY doesn't have enough damage to work through anything.
Yeah, I didn't realize how far ahead Dairen actually was. He's 1.6k ahead. That is a ridiculous amount. I thought maybe 800 probably would have fit the build a little bit more because he's 2, 3, and 3, but he's been actually farming up at a pretty decent rate.
Super Yoshi can literally just stand there, take all the damage he needs to provide information. Flickers in, gets the stun, and Lolil is gone! Here comes the catch from the Sora! Finds 2 into the knockup. Feathered Airstrike doing good damage, but is it enough? Ruff already picks up the double kill, and Dairen is still alive! He's able to walk out scot-free!
Damn, big chunks. Big chunks. And right now, Ruff, he's having the time of his life, unpunished as he walks through confidently with 4 other members to support him. Pillars to make sure that this roof does not collapse just yet. And Team REY, this is such an awkward time for them to not only lose Siska, but worse yet, feel the power spike of RRQ TORA as they start hitting their second items, third items even for some people.
This game already spiraling out of control. We're looking at a 7k goal lead in 10 minutes when Team REY has heroes like Leomord, Barca, and Hilda, who should be in control at this stage. But RRQ TORA has made their presence known, a free Lord in their hands.
With Lord in their hands, let's see how they break inhibitors, right? Because this is the best setups for Lords. No side lanes to worry about. Only on the top side there's a single T2. But wait, whoa! Yo! Are we fighting this hard just for purple?
They really want to commit that? They're going in. It's a nice dark wave, but is the damage sufficient? Look at RRQ TORA! They're just surviving everything! And Team REY is melting! Like cheese on a hot car hood! Martisi left by his lonesome, being chased down by Sasuke of all people. It's a monster kill.
I can see the memes. I can see it already. I can imagine it. Clippers out there, you know what to do. All they have to do to get a good meme about Team REY that at this point, purple buff over losing a game.
And it looks like they're just gonna be pushing straight in right now. Dairen does drop, probably a little bit unnecessary, but it's still fine. It's 3v3 situation. Lord has already taken the inhibitor. RRQ TORA does not need to stay any longer.
Yeah, I think at this point, the only thing I need Team REY to do is really talk about the way that they're going to fight and why they are fighting. I think a lot of the times we see these newer teams, they fight out of instinct and they don't really understand, like, what are we doing here, right? Like, the Lord is going to spawn anytime soon. The longer the fight drags on, the more hurt you're going to be for when the Lord actually spawns and gets to your inhibitors. And ideally, you end the fight before or after that, right? Within the first 10 seconds of impact.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this is already a GG scenario for Team REY. I don't really know if they have the right tools for stopping RRQ TORA's push. Ruff is very farm 7-0, Gary's perfectly fine as well. The only way they turn this around is if Lolil can somehow get a huge gold influx from picking up multiple bounties.
Well, I think it's gonna be a little hard. Dealing with Super Yoshi and Dairon, like, together is hard enough. He could probably 1v1 a good chunk of them with the exception of Ruff.
Perhaps, but even then, you're not gonna get those situations. The one, like, you're hoping for a 1v1, RRQ TORA is not gonna give it to you. Their positioning has been very clean.
I mean, they've given up on the default, right? Dairon is standing right next to Ruff. He's got Super Yoshi in the wake. He is following what he literally wrote on his hands. The only one who's allowed to be individually selfish, or at the very least do his own thing, has to be Gary. Because he knows that if he shows up first, he gets 100-0 straight away.
Yeah, I think Gary's timings have been great, and it's been a lot easier for him to find those opportunities because Super Yoshi is so difficult to remove. And he's only got 2 items completed in 2, so this glue is only going to get more sturdy.
Yeah. Second question, why are they allowing Team REY to walk out here? Like, Team REY should not be able to get out of their base. Like, touching this wave, there should be some kind of tax. Like, well, then again, the missing mid inhibitor doesn't really change that fact. But I'd like it, at least for RRQ side, hey, interact with them when they show up on the map. We've got a pushing wave down bot that Gary can handle, so all we got to watch out for, Lord Pit, top side, and mid lane.
I do feel like Super Yoshi could be scouting a little bit more aggressively here, walk up into the jungle, since you're probably not gonna die even if all 5 members are there. Team REY being allowed to have a bigger presence than you would think.
Yeah.
Oh, do you really want... Oh, they're trying to go for the concealed flank, but Gary's already finished off the Lord. Kim does drop quite low, but here comes the shifting sky. Is Iron gonna be able to finish off Ziska? And now they're diving into the back line. Just Scar gonna be grabbed and fed to Ruff. It's legendary double kill for the goal laner of RRQ TORA.
That's got to be upsetting. Very, very upsetting for Just Gar. And even Martese, they did not give him any space to play this entire game as they close out the first round. Ivan finally falls 20-7. RRQ TORA, these young guns, invested in by the kingdom, take game number 1.
We are seeing some very clean, controlled aggression coming in from RRQ TORA in their very first game of MPL Malaysia Season 17. Stopping Team REY from being able to play at all for that early game snowball. And after that, everything else just falls into place.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Tough. I'm thinking... Is this a draft issue more than anything else? To a certain degree, yes and no. And I think where could they have adjusted a little bit better? It's tough because it's a difficult comp to read unless you know that their playstyle was going to be, hey, once we break the T1s, we stick as 5, we have a 2-2 kill squad, and then Gary does what he likes.
I do think the glue caught them off guard. I don't think they were really prepared for that possibility, especially since you don't really see him played in roam too much. Is the perfect answer for stopping Hilda from walking into your jungle, and actually even more durable than she is. So there simply is no way for Team REY to remove that vision control from their opponents.
Yeah, they knew that if they didn't send Ivan into the mid lane, they'd lose mid prio, and without mid prio, that's when they could start walking into Leomord's jungle for free, and I think that would have been a worse outcome. Even so, it's something to think about for Team REY. They've got to readjust here, and I think a lot of it is just breaking down the supports and that mid lane. Super Yoshi got away with so much there.
Glue is just that type of hero. It's so annoying to play with. Anyone with personal experience, there's a reason he's banned so often in ranked as well. You gotta have the right composition to handle it, and they just did not because of how late the hero showed up.
Yeah, I think with that being said, at least there's a couple of behaviors that we're noticing right off the rip, right? And for Gary, would I say it's a stellar performance? No, I think he did all right. He did his job. His timings, like you mentioned, literally very, very perfect, just to make sure his teammates get out, knowing that he can't really find a trade back. And then eventually, once he has 2 items, that's when he's like, all right, it's time for me to fight.
it's a lot of freedom for Gary as well as Ruff this game just because of this glue alone, right? They are allowed to just take their time and decide when to enter because Super Yoshi will do the rest, right? So I'm kind of wanting to see what will happen when they don't have a hero like that, but that depends on what the draft is for game number 2. For now, MVP of game 1 is none other than Super Yoshi.
Well deserved. Well deserved. He was set up for success, and now he continues to follow in the legacy that his brothers have set for him. In a region that just needs better supports, Super Yoshi answers the calls on an unconditional pick of Glue. Which is funny, because the only other time we've seen Glue in the support was last year. So that would have been season 16, 15 then, right?
I feel like it was it played? I feel like it was played last season.
Was it 15 or was it 14 where we saw support Glue get thrown out there by... Oh no, was it Ocean Black who did it, or was it... it was one of the...
I remember Rossi played a support Glue a couple times. Not often, but once or twice.
But it was the first dude who did it.
Dude?
I know the face. I will come back to this. I will come back to this. I will eventually get my history down for our lore. But 20-7 is still a whopping performance for the Kingdom, and they should be very happy with how this played out. Team REY, on the other hand, yo, they gotta... I know it's just like the first day, but they gotta pull something together here because, again, the defaulting does not work. We're not seeing the adaptation here.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really a big fan of the Phobiuses showing up at least so early in the drafts as well, because it just hasn't been the most effective. Like, I can see Phobius doing well in certain situations, but maybe not a general catch-all, especially when you're leaving heroes like Sora wide open for your opponent. Once you lose out on that EXP lane control, and then you know that Ivan's not going to be able to do much against Super Yoshi, you already lose all of your frontline potential.
Well, I think that the beauty of Phobius really comes down to, when you think about it, he actually outscales Sora. If Sora goes full damage and Siska decides on this Phobius, full tank, full items, you will not die. And I think that is by far the most important thing when you're facing up against a Sora, because knowing that Sora can like one-shot you as soon as he hits level 4 is a very scary feeling.
But there's still outplay potential comparatively to a hero like Sora. There's just so much he can do. Even if you do somehow lose your lane or you get outscaled by a Phobius, you can still set up. You can still push side lanes. You don't actually have to be with your team to make things happen comparatively.
Well, I think it just boils down to, like, do you have true damage or not, right? Because again, they are really thick boys. Phobius, so thick. And even when we're talking about Sora in particular, his tank form, yes, it's great, but nothing beats carry. Dear God, how do you... There is... Once carry... I mean, once Ruff is like 9-6, he was already having 3 items, already building into the Malefic Gun. If I remember correctly, roughly... Not 11... Was it 9 minutes? 11 minutes into the game already? That's when you know it was kind of done for.
I would kind of wish they saved the Lolil's hero for last rather than Martizi's if they were intending to go for this Farsa, because then at least they might have a little bit more counterplay potential. I don't think Yi-Sun-Shin's very good at melting the glue. And Lolil was playing pretty okay, like things were pretty balanced in the gold lane for most of it, but then Ruff started joining fights and then instantly ballooned out of control.
Yeah, they needed isolated fights ideally. Like segmented modular fights that can be like picked up and thrown around in different spots. That would have been nice, because again, when you are playing Yi-Sun-Shin, the greatest strength of Yi-Sun-Shin is that he chases anybody down. Nobody can really quote-unquote get away. You can make some distance, but he'll eventually catch back up. Unless Team REY are able to create that sort of like pathway for him, I don't see it happening just yet.
There's no hero on Team REY's side that can open the map enough, especially against Super Yoshi.
Well, I mean, it was supposed to be Ivan, but we saw how that early game went. Which is why I thought, like, if you knew that the mid lane was so scuffed already, why stick around, right? Like, you've already taxed half your HP at level 1, and then you heal back up to 75, you go back to level 2, and then you have to recall because you take, what, 90% of your HP, leaving you with 10? So it's like, at what point do you cut it quits and be like, I'm sorry, Martizi, this is not working. We gotta split.
I think the big issue is that even if they split, there is literally nothing Ivan could have done this game. Right? You lose the mid lane.
That's
true.
You
can't invade because Super Yoshi will be there. You can't kill a carry. You can't kill a Sora as long as they play correctly.
But you can influence the lanes. I think that's
So difficult, though.
Oh no, just the well time. Like, I will say that Siska had 1 or 2 moments where he froze the lane correctly, and he needed Ivan to show up to chunk Sora's life total. I think there were a couple of opportunities there, but they were very focused around that gold lane. They were very focused on moving away, unless it was a turtle fight. And even the turtle fights, that one, we're talking about the major one. The Lord, like, I don't want to say Lord steal, but Lord already taken, and then just before the Lord spawns, they decided to fight from the side of Team REY? That was wild. What are we doing there?
I guess even if we disregard the draft entirely, there were some interesting calls being made. I do think desperation mode started kicking in when they realized, like, what do we do? What can we do in this situation? And just hoping something works.
Yeah, this one had to be a miscomm coming in from RRQ TORA, because Dyron, he could have easily flickered instantly and then got the ult off without having to wait. But the fact that he hesitated, I'm assuming they weren't sure whether they were going to fight.
And then here as well, Ivan tries to engage on the glue, basically leaves his backline out to dry, so Dyron gets a free entry from the flank. Even if he goes down, the job is done, because Gary and Ruff are farming up a storm.
They're farming way too well. Really, really well. See, again, moments like that shouldn't be happening to Siska. It's just that Team REY, when they default, do they not have enough vision over the map, or are they making wrong assumptions? And I would like to believe that they're just not communicating, because making the wrong assumptions is a far harder problem to solve.
Having a lack of vision is definitely something, because Ivan just can't open the map as freely, but you also have a Yisun Shin. You just have to
press one button.
You just have to say, like, hey, Loleo, could you open the map for us real quick?
Loleo, do the thing.
I don't feel like we saw enough of that here, so Team REY were fighting blind a lot of the time, and again, that desperation does not lend itself to good plays.
Yeah, I think if anything with the draft, sure, if we end up with Loleo's back on that Yisun Shin, they really have to put more focus on the mid trio, really. Like, Justgar got his hero, but then once we saw what Ivan and Martezi had to play against, it doesn't become very easy. And even with the mid trios, right? Both Gary alongside with Justgar had the same ideas. We have to affect the mid lane.
It's just that one side had a